Hi, lovelies. Good afternoon. I hope all of you are taking care of yourselves. I'm not going to say I hope all of you are doing well because just from conversations I've had today, as well as what I'm observing on public forums where people are just expressing their thoughts about last night's election results, I know a lot of people are not doing well or feeling well. Um, I'm not gonna ask you to hit the thumbs up or do any of that. Please comment because I do miss speaking to y'all. So please drop comments, drop comments, drop comments. But when it comes to all that jazz, share this video as well because this is a message that Spirit has laid on my heart. This will be a spiritual analysis of the election. So I'm not going to be speaking from an egotistical or material world heavily influenced point of view. I will discuss points that may be rooted in those themes, but those are not my intentions, to be very clear. So the comment session is a safe space. It is a safe space no matter who you voted for, no matter how you're feeling. It is a safe space. I am apolitical. So I'm not affiliated with either party, nor have I ever came on here and advocated for either candidate or tried to encourage either of y'all to vote either way. I never even told y'all not to vote. My thing has always been showing compassion and empathy and having a level of understanding for people to have a difference of opinions, because at the end of the day, baby, it's a class, WAR. Okay, it is a class. Actually, no, I'm gonna just speak freely. Shit, I ain't on YouTube no more. It's a class war. It's a class war. This ain't about Republicans versus Democrats. This is about the people at the top wanting to gain a majority so that they can stay at the top while feeding and creating an illusion that you have a substantial chance at getting to the top with them, when for as long as we can remember, it's 1%, 5%, 95%. And these days, 1%, 99%, because the middle class is dead. Okay? So those are just my opinions. But I have nothing against anyone who voted for Kamala. I have nothing against anyone who voted for Trump. I really just do not have a dog in this race, honey. I really don't. And I was talking to a few of my friends. I'm one of the very few people that correctly predicted that Trump would win. A few of the lovelies were texting me, Queen, what Spirit saying? Trump got it. No, don't say that, Leah. Kamala got to pull through. Listen, baby, I don't make the news. I'm a vessel for it. I knew he was going to win because, and it's funny because I just did an article on Medium about this. It's called Three Ways in Which I Prepared for a Kamala Harris Defeat as a Black woman. I just posted that article this morning. And one of the ways was being honest with myself and being honest about the country we live in. They didn't even give it to a white woman. Did we really seriously? And I'm not judging, and this is just a true question. It could be rhetorical, or if you really want to answer and share, go ahead. It's a safe space, no judgment. But did we really think that they was going to give it to a mixed race, black passing Indian woman? They're going to let her be the brand ambassador for the country, because that's what the president is, especially someone like Kamala Harris, who is, cut from the cloth of traditional politics. Now, Trump, this is why people like him, because from day one, that has been his own lane that he's carved out. Because he's a entitled, old money, wealthy white man, automatically it just makes sense for optics to align him with the Republican Party. Just off of optics alone, because we're going to get into some things. A lot of this stuff is identity politics. the smart people, or I don't want to do that, but people that are informed, a bit more informed, we know that the president is not the real mover and shaker. It's the people behind the scenes. We know that a lot of work gets done and then the president gets to usually take their credit. Go watch The West Wing. Go watch Scandal. Shit, what's the other one? House of Cards. Okay, sometimes art does imitate life. Shoot, back in 2016, when they had the storyline of Melly Grant running for president, Shonda Rhimes wrote it in the script that she lost, and then it actually happened in real life when Hillary Clinton and her kitten heels and her pantsuits lost in 2016. You understand? So a lot of this is identity politics. So when it comes to Trump entering in a race and he's your abnormal candidate, he's not somebody that's aligned with the ways of the Democratic Party and what's expected and so on and so forth. And he enters into the chat. And once again, because white male, wealthy, old money, people bring up, the Central Park Five, him taking out the ad and so on and so forth. Okay, Republican Party. I did not see Kamala winning. I feel like Kamala Harris is just somebody where she's good on paper. She's intelligent, but she's not good as a public figure. Like I said, the president is like the brand ambassador for the United States. But when it comes to Donald Trump, he's somebody that's going to sign executive order after executive order after executive order after executive order, and so on and so forth. He's somebody that's gonna just do what he wants to do. If it can get done and he can do it, he doesn't care. I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission. Get it done today, deal with it tomorrow. And I'm not gonna say that that's the best way, but it's a different way. And after a while, when you can no longer force feed people shit and get them to believe that it's chocolate pudding, even if the next thing on the plate is a bucket of nails, it's like, well, at least I know that's a bucket of nails. I already know how consuming shit that I keep being told is chocolate pudding. I know how that's fucking me up. But shit, what do I have to lose? Let me try the nails. And I use that analogy because some people will be like, shit, I'd rather eat shit than fucking put some nails down my throat. And you're not wrong for that. But try to understand that perception is reality. And if people put a choice of the lesser of two evils into perspective that goes in alignment with what they want their personal reality to look like, that's not going to look the same and be the same for everyone. That has always been my stance. Suggesting, encouraging, empowering you all to just learn how to, even if you feel like somebody is way on the opposite end of the spectrum of your opinion and your beliefs, just learn how to show some compassion, have some understanding. Turn your fixed mindset off and put that growth mindset on, and let's get some nuance. Understand that more often than not, because nothing is really ever black and white. Multiple truths do coexist. And I really feel like if people really, from a heart-centered place, are truly concerned with the state of this country, and what's going on and how to move forward and so on and so forth, you gonna have to cross over the aisle and get an understanding. That's why we keep getting defeated, because blindly listening and following people that we are conditioned to just trust that they're gonna make it all okay. And within doing that, there's this constant propaganda and encouragement that to step outside of that echo chamber and entertain anything else that's not what we're telling you is law, you're wrong, you're unintelligent, you're a coon, you're this, you're that. Purposely creating that environment to minimize the chances of you learning how to think for yourself. And God forbid if that leads to you saying, you know what, I'm not going to vote red this time. I'm going to vote blue. I'm not going to vote blue this time. I'm going to go independent or vote green or vote red. Self-preservation is the first law of human nature. It is a waste of time thinking that you can control somebody. This is where self-accountability and self-awareness comes in, because it's your job to learn yourself enough to know what works for you, what doesn't. And when you see people going against that, with as little judgment as possible, just reroute and step the other way. Because stopping and doing the constant tug of war, and you deadlocked in how you feel, and that person is, what we doing? Nothing. Nothing at all. I said from day one, no matter how this election pans, and this is me spiritually speaking, Spirit told me this, Black people are still in a great fucking position. We really are. Because we are not even being seriously considered anyways when it comes to policies. I was just writing about this on Medium. I'm 28. I'll be 29 on the 23rd. Shout out to the Scorpios. Happy birthday to y'all. Happy birthday to the Saggies coming up. Yes. And happy holidays, because Mariah Carey said it's safe to celebrate Christmas. Now, I thought we wait till the day after Thanksgiving, but Mariah's tired. She probably Mariah's like, I need extra coins. We're gonna get it started early this year. But yeah, I'm 28 years old. I'm gonna just be very transparent to drive home my point. I have to max out my student loans just so that I could survive while I go back to school and gain credentials and network so that I can have a chance at creating and sustaining a better quality life. I live below the fucking poverty line right now. I don't have a consistent source of income. I don't. I get my refund check, pay my rent up several months in advance so I know the next one is coming for the semester. The rest of that chunk of money that's left, I just do my best to budget it. Splurge here and there, but do my best to budget it. Get some bookings here and there, but do my best to budget it. Motherfucking landlords tried to raise the rent on me. My rent is $14.65. I have a 2-bedroom, 2 full bathroom. I live in Newark. Old building. This is a like pre-war apartment. Landlord tried to raise the rent on me to $15.30. Sent them a list of shit that I've been telling them to fix. My heat hasn't worked in over a year. True story. There's mold in this fucking apartment. True fucking story. These vents, all of this, windows, all of this. Sent them a fucking email. Oh, I'll get back to you. This was 2 months ago. Swear to God, they ain't get back to me because these motherfuckers ain't coming up in here to fix shit unless I'm moving out and they raising that rent to $2,200 like they've been doing to other people. Gas bill, PSEG bill, close to $7,000. You want to know why? You know how many times me, Aaliyah, I've called the light company and asked for an investigation, asked them to come out here Told them, if you come in my house, I got 2 TVs, one flat screen, one that's like maybe a 38-inch. I don't got a bunch of electronics and shit plugged up. The only thing that stays plugged up is like my modem. That's it. Microwave, toaster, everything stays unplugged. I'm a full-time master's student with an unpaid part-time job as a social worker, part of my practicum. Rarely home. Bills is coming back crazy. You think they came out here to investigate? You know what these stupid motherfuckers tell me? Swear to God. Oh, we don't see a reason to investigate. Shut off notice after shut off notice after shut off notice. They've never shut my lights off. Come to find out, these fucking slumlords are putting the outside lights, the hallway lights, and running other shit onto my bill. I have not paid on my light bill in God knows how long. God just said, leave it alone. I'm like, God, you sure? And this was like earlier this year. This has been going on for over a year. God said, leave it alone. And I just leave it alone. This is the shit that people such as myself, where on the outside it may look like we get into it, and we are, but the intricate details of the shit that we are confronted with because we still live in poverty, y'all don't talk about none of that shit. Everything is the middle class and up. Everything is for the people that have already, quote unquote, pulled themselves up by the bootstraps and made it in. And now we're going to make sure your taxes when you go and buy a house and do all of this. Where the fuck is the policies for people in early adulthood, such as myself, where you're still in that transitionary period from 20 to 30 trying to get yourself together, and you already come from a disenfranchised background? I'm the first person to go to college in my family and get higher education. My parents, my mother dropped out in middle school because she was going through her stuff. My father never finished school. I'll never forget, on paper, my undergraduate college admission counselor said, girl, you are like a miracle coming from where you coming from and making it here. You don't even realize, because that was the norm. All of my peers came from those backgrounds like that. Why y'all not talking about ways that the fucking educational gap with black students being twice as likely than their white, students, peer counterparts, to go through the school to prison pipeline due to, inadequate reading scores and so on and so forth? You know how many people sitting in jail and prison that's illiterate? Why y'all not talking about that? Y'all didn't even address the goddamn immigration situation properly. And Kamala, as the sitting vice president, you was in charge of the borders. And y'all shutting schools down out here in New York City because the migrants is in the gymnasiums. And y'all not even addressing that shit. Like, in how many other ways can you show somebody or tell somebody, we don't give a fuck about y'all? Come on. You got veterans on waiting lists and shelters for social services and shit that's getting bumped. I got lovelies that work in social services in California that told me their supervisors told them to pause the list of California citizens and take care of the migrant women first. Y'all was doing foul fucking shit. And it's not to say that the Republicans are angels or any better. But once again, the shit pudding versus nails analogy. I already know how fucked up I am with the shit pudding. And I know I'll probably be fucked up with the nails, but let's see if it's a different type of fucked up I can maneuver through. That's just human nature. When you get tired of doing the same thing, expecting different results and getting the same fucking result. I'm also not mad at people for doing what they know. Taking the path of least resistance because you're fucking exhausted, rightfully so. I wrote about this on Medium too. We as a country, as a world, as a society, humanity, we have been through a lot of changes. We have been through a lot of changes. And unfortunately, our government has failed to give appropriate suggested solutions and resources that will aid in us healing and reconciling the things that we have experienced. So I'm not mad at people that's like, all right, I'm just voting for Kamala, I'm just voting blue. People are tired, overworked, rent is rising. You're not able to take that vacation the way everybody was a few years ago. Shit, COVID. Some of y'all was brave traveling when shit was dirt cheap. You understand? Because I always say that 2020 really was not that bad. 2021 really wasn't that bad. 2022 is when shit started getting bad, in my opinion. But everybody, got different things going on. But I'm just saying that. And I lost my mom and all that stuff happened in 2021. But when I think of like the collective energy shift, 2022, that's when shit really started getting bad collectively in America. In my opinion, feel free to counter, come with stats, whatever. Like, it's all good. Let's have a convo in the comments. But yeah, I'm not mad at people. People are exhausted to the point where it's like, I'm sure they want to think, they want to research, got kids, 9 to 5. Some people may be at that age where it's time to start taking care of sick family members. People got a lot of shit going on. Pandemic happened. Some people died. Some people had to step up and help raise kids. It's a lot of shit going on. So I'm not mad at people that's just like, I'm just going to vote blue. I'm really not. The best thing people can do for themselves is just educate themselves and not run with the crowd. Like, really educate yourself and not run with the crowd. Because I think that's really what's effing people right now. Is that, like, even last night, I watched the election coverage. They weren't even calling the stuff accurately. Like, Fox, surprisingly, was the only station that was accurately in real time reporting stuff. Like, I knew that they called Pennsylvania for Harris before the news was actually calling it. They didn't even want to call the states because they knew she lost. You understand? And I just think I just think that the Democratic Party needed to be humbled. You can't treat people the way that they've treated people and play on people's vulnerabilities and fears and insecurities and think you're gonna keep getting away with it. Again, I'm not saying that Trump was the answer. Hell, I don't mind Jill Stein and that African brother she's with. I forget his name. My apologies. I don't shit. Give her a chance. Cause I was paying attention to Jill Stein when she was campaigning, and I think the Green Party, why not? Shit, we've been doing Republican and Democrat for how long? Why not try the Green Party? But yeah, that's just my long-winded introduction because I'm not done yet. So, like I said, this is going to be a spiritual analysis of this election. So that's my commentary portion. I want to direct hold on. Okay, I paused. I wanted to eat something. I had made me a nice little omelet and I totally forgot. And I wanted to pause and get some nutrients. This is my third bottle of water for the day. We've been doing better with the water intake. So yes, honey, let's get to it. And I do have my friend had bought me like the water bottle where it like has the times at how much water you should be drinking per hour. And for me, it's like I could either fill that up with about 2 3/4 of a water bottle, or I just drink 3 bottles of water. When I want to do like my lemon cayenne pepper water, because I've been doing that lately, trying to like fix my gut health, then I use that. But when I'm just like, getting my water in, then I just drink the bottles. Just in case he's listening, because y'all, he's a Capricorn stellium. You know they hate when they give you something that's useful and then you don't use it. Yeah. But nah. Okay, so I'm gonna direct y'all attention over to birth charts, okay? Because we going now this is where I'm gonna talk some shit, okay? A lot of people in the spiritual community was lying to y'all. I was looking high and low, and Sloan Bella was the only other psychic that said Trump was gonna win. And when I seen that Sloan Bella said that he was gonna win, I'm like, okay, I trust what I seen, because I said Trump was gonna win too. I don't think I ever came and said it on the internet, because I really don't like talking about politics on the internet. It comes with a very low frequency of low vibrations and just ignorance and ego. And I literally get repulsed by it. That's why I just abruptly, I think it was on Friday, whenever we had that new moon in Scorpio, I took my Twitter down and my Instagram, because I was just tired of people. Like, one thing about me, I'm glad that this election is over, because I was really getting tired of people. Like, I was just so repulsed, because y'all seen my chart before. I have a lot of Sagittarius energy. It's my sun, moon, rising, Venus, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter. Okay. And yeah, like my whole, especially with me being a Sag rising, because that's the chart ruler, I'm all about truth and justice and equality and fairness in this lifetime. And me being a Libra North node in the 10th house don't make it any better. Like, when I see injustices taking place that go beyond what meets the naked conscious eye, I really have, and that's part of the reason why I'm taking a year off from social media and being intentionally and consistently active, is because I feel my psychic gifts heightening, and I need to learn how to feel and come across energy, but not get so consumed with it and not absorb it in such a way where, because it's creating irritation within me, without another thought, now I'm judging people or being condescending or looking down my nose and stuff. And I felt that coming, and I'm like, I got to take a step back and learn how to navigate this energy that is ascending within me, in a way to where it helps the greater good, not be used against the greater good. So that's like more on a spiritual level, what led to my decision as well. But people were lying. First of all, people were like, I seen the astrology and it's more favorable to Kamala. How? Matter of fact, let's start with Donald Trump's chart. Okay, number one, number one. Donald Trump has Gemini in his 10th house. The 10th house is the natural home environment for the sign Capricorn. When we think about the sign Capricorn and the properties and themes that's associated with Capricorn, Capricorn is your legacy, it is your public reputation, it is the career, and it's the energy that you are encouraged to integrate and strive towards in an effort to have a high chance at creating as much material success, to be specifically, in this lifetime. So Trump naturally has Gemini in the 10th house. He is a natal Gemini North node, placing his Sagittarius South node in the 4th house. Now, the reason why I knew Trump was going to win is because he has his natal Uranus in Gemini. Uranus is getting ready to leave Taurus and enter into the sign of Gemini. So it will be entering his 10th house. However, presently, his midhaven, as you can see highlighted, is at the 24th degree of Taurus. Right now, Uranus is making a tight conjunction to his midhaven. Once again, the midhaven is the starting point of the 10th house. The midhaven is his legacy. With Uranus being conjunct his midhaven, Uranus deals with a curveball. Uranus deals with going against the status quo, rebelling against the status quo. Taurus deals with tradition, it deals with stability. It's represented by the tarot card, the Hierophant. It deals with a sense of hierarchy, structure, paying your dues and learning under someone before becoming the person that people pay their dues to energetically and learn from you. So with him having Uranus conjunct this midhaven, that was the first indicator for me intuitively that this can go in his way. Another thing is Jupiter is transiting Gemini up until mid next year. Jupiter is conjunct his north node and Uranus. Jupiter deals with expansiveness. It deals with luck. It deals with luck. It is also the ruler of his south node in Sagittarius. So that Jupiter in Gemini is creating an exact opposition or a very tight opposition to that south node in Sagittarius. This is some karmic debt that Trump was just meant to clear up in this fucking lifetime. Some people really are born lucky, or shall I say, they are born with cards where, given the time that they're living, it just so happens that what you have, it perfectly aligns with the structure. That is Trump. Because everybody, as spirits, we're all perfect. All of our spirits is perfect, but when we agree to come down here and incarnate and have this physical human experience, our flesh does get afflicted. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So that Jupiter in the 10th house of his legacy, conjuncting that north node, and the north node deals with the agreement that your soul is agreeing to, the energy that your soul is agreeing to integrate in his lifetime, and that's all in his 10th house of legacy and public reputation. I knew he had this shit in the bag. I knew he had this shit in the bag. And another thing is Sagittarius deals with foreign cultures. It can deal with long distance travel. It could deal with foreign affairs. It also can deal with politics as well. So just off that alone, and Jupiter is conjunct his sun right now too. And he has that sun at the 22nd degree, which is the degree of Capricorn that governs over that 10th house. He had this shit in the bag. Anybody that said that the astrology was more in favor of Kamala, you were lying. I'm not even going to play on your intelligence and say you don't know what you're talking about. Y'all were fucking lying. Another thing is right now, transit in North Node is in that 8th house, heading into that 7th house with the South Node in that 1st house. And the 7th house deals with justice. And with Saturn being there, this is karmic justice for him. I've always said, and I don't know if I've ever said this out loud, but I do, and this is just my opinion, I do believe that back in 2020, they rigged that election on God. On God. Because that's another thing. You got transiting Saturn, which deals with karma, and that seventh house, which is naturally the home of Libra, which deals with justice. And with Pisces being there, this is spiritual justice. And the North Node is about to enter into that with that South Node in the first house. And with Virgo being the natural ruler of the sixth house and Aquarius being there, and this deals with the people, and Virgo deals with service, Trump really may do some really good things for this country. This can deal with him really doing some great things for the country, especially with Pluto entering that sixth house. But you got to be careful because that can deal with health problems. Because transiting Pluto is going to be opposing his natal Pluto in that 12th house, and the 12th house deals with death, and then Leo's there. So Trump got to be really careful because I don't know. I'm gonna just say what I'm getting, and all of this is alleged. It is possible he may not see through his whole term. I got that last night before even looking at this. It is possible because the energy is thick right now. This is all divine control. The fact that, and I've always said this, the fact that they even let him become the Republican nominee, y'all get what y'all get because y'all pick and choose when y'all want to show how gully y'all are up there on the hill and shit, and on fucking, what is it, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. So it just is what it is at this point. But he gonna have to be careful with that Pluto in the sixth house, because that's gonna deal with him making a lot of enemies in the workplace too, which makes sense. I mean, you're the president. But with that Pluto in the 12th house, he's used to it. Especially with it being in Leo, he's used to it. He's used to it. And that Mars in the 12th house, this is a perfect example of like when you have Mars in one of those shadow houses. If you learn how to work it, that shit can do wonders for you, because people will underestimate you because your sense of ambition, the way that people assume you should be showing it, it's not going to be traditional. Because Pisces is Neptunian energy, so it's like everything that glitters is not gold, but also don't underestimate because everything is not what meets the eye. You understand? So this speaks to that, like how people always are underestimating Trump and being like, oh, he's this, he's that, but homeboy pulls it out every time. Homeboy pulls it out every time. So yeah. Another thing is he has this natural Jupiter in Libra. Now the South Node is no longer conjunct that, but this is another thing that could have worked for Trump. However, the South Node is currently making an exact conjunction to that Neptune in that second house. And that's pretty much it. It's not conjunct the Chiron. So yeah. So to me, his stuff looks more favorable. His stuff looks way more favorable. Coming up, he gonna have the North Node in the 7th and the North Node in the 6th. That's gonna be it. Trump won't run for president again. It's 4 more years and then he's done. Now, what I will say is if he does make it to the end of his term, when that North Node gets to Capricorn, and by the time this happens, he'll be done with his presidency. And that South Node hits that 11th house. This can be a period since his natal Saturn is there, and then Mercury is there, and Venus is there, where people turn on him. And he receives some type of karma, and it could be related to something having to do with his children or things that he's done with children, allegedly. But if you've seen them Epstein documents, when that anonymous dude leaked them all on Twitter, you already know what the tea is. So we're gonna step on right past that. Congratulations, President Donald Trump. And yeah. Okay, so now let's go to Kamala. And I want y'all, I mean, I know a lot of y'all, some of y'all may not understand the astrology, but y'all tell me from your interpretation whose chart looks stronger. So now we're going to go to Kamala. Now, one thing that's interesting about Kamala and Trump is that they are both sun opposition moon people, but she got an exact sun opposition moon. She is a Libra sun with an Aries moon, similar to our boo boo Cardi B. Okay. But because the sun is at the 27th degree, the moon is at the 27th degree, it's an exact opposition. It's an exact opposition. Interestingly enough, her and Donald Trump are both Gemini North nodes with Sagittarius on the South node. They're both liars, because if Sagittarius was on the North node, that would mean that you come from a past life and you do subconsciously show up in a dishonest way. But I will also say, to throw some nuance in that, Gemini, it doesn't always mean to come across as like a deceptive sign. I just think that what it is that how do I say it? I just think that what it is that when it comes to Gemini, Gemini is governed by the twins. So it naturally has two sides, and it naturally, without checking in with society's norm, transcends that multifacetedness. I guess that's the best way I could put it, in that duality. So yeah, they both liars. She's also a Gemini ascendant. Her North node is creating almost an exact conjunction to that Gemini ascendant. So she's governed by Mercury. Mercury energy is trickster energy, and it could be very untrustworthy. And this could speak to why people just naturally felt like they could not trust her. But it's interesting because Donald Trump is governed by Mercury as well, because he's a Virgo rising. Well, he's a 29th degree Leo rising with Virgo mostly in his first house. So I guess it's a little different, because for him to be a man and to be governed by the sun, which deals with ego, then it's that 29th degree. So that again, it's very karmic. He's wrapping this up like this is the highest pinnacle of celebrity, is to become the leader of the free world, aka America. So it's karmic. It is karmic for him. Like, I know if you look at it from a perspective of like man-made, societal structures, it's like, yo, that's not fair. But yeah, honey, life is not fair. Favor is not fair. This is a perfect example of that. So this could speak to why she was not so trustworthy, but it also speaks to why she's a career politician. I mean, with her North node making that tight conjunction to her ascendant, it speaks to why she was a career politician. So Jupiter has been in Kamala's and still isn't in Kamala's 12th house. This deals with Kamala having a lot of spiritual protection at this time, which she is no stranger to, because her natal Jupiter in Taurus is in that 12th house. So whenever you have Jupiter placed in the 12th house, congratulations. You have an angel, whether you acknowledge it or not, that just sits on your shoulders and make sure that you are okay. Transit in Jupiter has been in that 12th house. And again, this just deals with spiritual protection. Now, I will say, with it conjuncting her ascendant and North node, very similar to how with Donald Trump, it conjunct his North node within the 10th house along with his sun. I feel like astrologically, the reason why Jupiter conjuncting her North node and her ascendant didn't bring home a win, as opposed to with Donald Trump having that conjunction to his sun and his North node in the 10th house, is because the first house deals with your personality, your self-expression, your physical appearance. Whatever sign you have in that first house, or two signs, if it's intercepted and she has Mercury and the moon, because she has Cancer and Gemini, those are the two planets that are going to be like an undertone energy to everything else you do as a result of everything else in your chart. It's your chart ruler, and it's the reoccurring theme that's going to show up in your life. So that's not the same as like going back to Donald Trump. And just to show y'all, right? Let me zoom in. This is not the not Megan Thee Stallion. Oh no, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Okay, no ma'am. I didn't ask for her. Okay, so going back, hold on. They done clicked me out and everything. Going back to Donald Trump versus Kamala. So you have transiting Jupiter conjunct his North Node and his Sun in his 10th house of public, current, reputation, professional life, and legacy. Him becoming the president. Him having Jupiter, which deals with expansiveness, spiritual justice and karma, and luck, conjuncting his Sun, which deals with how we see him. He's the president, and his North Node, which deals with his soul mission. May not agree with it, but the stars are in alignment with what he has chosen to do with his free will. It worked out for him. Then you also have that Uranus. So that deals with, because he's so eccentric, and once again, he's not your traditional candidate, it still works for him. Whereas you come over here to Kamala, she also has her North Node in Gemini. Transit in Jupiter is also conjunct that ascendant, even though it's sitting from the 12th house. Anything in the 12th house is weaker. Jupiter does well in the 12th house, but when we're now talking about it conjuncting her ascendant and her North Node, that just does something for her self-expression. I feel like her running to be president, it was something meant for her soul so that she can see that she can do it, but she just was not ready to actually win and step into that. That does happen. Sometimes spirit just wants to see, okay, she's ballsy enough to do it. Maybe in the next lifetime, she'll be the first female president, or so on and so forth. So that's the difference between those conjunctions. One is happening in a career, legacy, and public reputation house, and one is happening more so in a self-development and self-expression house. It's two different things. Then we have her Chiron. She has her Chiron in Pisces, which is conjunct Saturn right now. Transiting Saturn, that's in retrograde in Pisces, in that 10th house. Okay. Chiron is the wounded healer. It's the wounded healer. And with Saturn transiting, this can speak to, first of all, Saturn deals with restrictions, it deals with delays, limitations, and disappointments. Okay. It just was not in her favor. I really don't want to kick the woman while she's down, but it just was not in her favor. Saturn is currently opposing that Pluto in the 4th house of her subconscious, along with that Uranus there. And she has what is that? She got her Venus there too. And that's another thing. Kamala has, you see, Trump has a 10th house stellium. Kamala has Pisces in the 10th house with a Chiron. I wouldn't be surprised if she's like socially awkward. Because now that I'm looking at her 4th house and seeing she has a stellium in her 4th house, she got her North Node conjunct her literally like right there on her ascendant, which cuts to her 12th house, along with her Jupiter, her moon. I don't even think she wanted this shit. I think she wanted it like as in like, yo, that would be dope if I can become the first Black Indian mixed race president, female president. But I don't really think she wanted this shit. I really don't. I really don't, because I just like energetically, I just get nothing for her, man. I really, I don't see how people were looking at these charts and saying that that shit was like it's right here in the chart, and it's this fourth house stellium for me. Now, I will say this fourth house stellium, especially with Pluto being there and then it being in Virgo and her having Venus and Uranus there, and it creates that opposition to that Chiron and Pisces in the 10th house. This could speak to the fact that, and actually just tells the story. Kamala is a very powerful person in the shadows. Her power is very subconscious, and she does better when she's not in the public eye, because Pisces governs over the 12th house. It deals with being hidden, it deals with isolation. And then you put a Chiron there, child cheese. She didn't fucking want that shit. I really don't think she did. Like, she would not have minded, but I get energetically that she's relieved. But it also would have kind of worked for her. Like, vice president works for her because she could just kind of kick her feet up and be in the background. But as a president who has to constantly be like the speaking, I don't know. I see something for her, but it's either going to be later in life or next lifetime, honey. Call Erica Badu. So yeah, that's pretty much that. That's nuts. That's nuts. Because I just glanced at their charts a while back, but now looking at it again more intricately, I really don't see how people was getting saying like, oh, astrology shows. Astrology shows what? What the fuck I just showed y'all, right? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I just hate liars. I really do. I hate people that be lying like for the sake of lying because you want to prove a point or because you want to be correct. I can't stand that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have no more to say on this. I'm gonna pull some cards real quick before I get out of here to see what spirit. Last words. What are some collective messages that you want me to convey? Well, that's some collective messages. Right now, spirit is suggesting that people take care of themselves. Be intentional about going into solitude for yourself. Also be intentional about creating distance from people that engage ways of showing up that you're actively trying to unlearn and create distance from when it comes to elevating the timeline that you're on, figuratively speaking, meaning not still doing things of a previous version of you that you've identified just simply don't, fit with you anymore. So make sure you are doing that. Surrender to a higher power that has nothing to do with this physical realm. That is asked of you right now as well. More solitude, all in the name of this justice card that I just pulled upright, which deals with balance. Don't try to find a solution right now. Don't try to make sense of it. Just let your feelings come and feel your feelings, but don't feel pressured to try to find a solution and make sense of it. There's a lot going on in the background that you can't see, but you will be victorious. You will be victorious. And there is an end coming to mental duress and suffering that a lot of people been going through. But again, it goes back to the first message that I just pulled. You have to be intentional about creating distance from people that are engaging in ways of showing up that are counterintuitive to the way in which you are trying to show up consistently moving forward, because that's what's creating a lot of suffering for y'all. I get collectively. I get that there's some of y'all that see things for what it is politically, but you just do what you know because you're surrounded around a lot of people that, show up that way. And it's not a right or wrong. I want to make that very clear. I really hope y'all listen to my video in full. It's not right or wrong. It's about human nature. If you feel like claustrophobic spiritually right now, that's your higher self knocking on you and trying to get you to unlearn and just pause and don't do what it is that you're used to doing. If you really have like that curious energy within you that's like, let me try to move this way, or let me try to put it into this perspective, or let me try to show up this way. Lots of what do you call these? Swords. So lots of thoughts. 5 of coins, spiritual poverty, the emperor. Right. So with the 5 of coins and the emperor coming out underneath it, and they're both upright, tap into your inner power. Remember your inner power. Some of y'all can't see it, and some of y'all feel so defeated because you've relinquished your inner power to these man-made structures. Not judging. This is just what Spirit is telling me to put out there for those that really want to get a better understanding. 8 of Swords in reverse. Things are not as bad as you think they are. There are solutions to these problems. You just have to step away from the way in which you're used to seeking and applying solutions. Think spiritual. Lean not on your own understanding. That's a Bible verse. That's a Bible verse. Wheel of Fortune, 6 of Staffs, 3 of Coins in reverse. Yeah, the group think, all of the group cards, the 3 of Cups, the 3 of Coins, the group think has to stop. In order for the wheel to turn, just think for yourself. And to think for yourself is not to put anybody else down. Just think for yourself. There's new beginnings coming, y'all, which makes sense. I mean, Pluto's entering Aquarius, so that's like a new beginning for society. But, all right, so I gave y'all everything: commentary, astrology, and tarot. She does it all, ladies and gentlemen. And for those that's following me on Medium, I even did a write-up this I did a write-up on Medium. So yeah, that's that. Let me show it to y'all real quick. So some housekeeping. I have decided to republish my Patreon. I'm gonna put all my content on Patreon, as well as upload my written stories. So those of you that don't want to pay to follow me on Medium, you'll have access to my stories. So this is the story I did today. 3 things I did to prepare for a Kamala Harris defeat as a Black woman. And this is my story. So yeah. So y'all got fed today all over. Okay. So yeah, I wish y'all well. If y'all want to donate, my Cash App is on the screen. If you want to book a session, I am still taking clients, so feel free to email me, or you could click the link that's pinned in the comments and it'll take you straight to my booking site. And just take care of yourself. Just take care of yourself. Now's the time to really reflect and take care of yourself. So have a good day. Bye.